Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. Hope you are doing well. Hope you've had a good, I want to say start to the day, but it's not even morning. It's currently 1:43 as I am filming this, but hopefully you had a good start to the day. So for today's video, I am going to be showing you guys my everyday chill makeup routine. So if you want to see how I got to this look from what I usually look like, then do keep on watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, it would really mean a lot to us. And yeah, let's just get right on to the video. So even though this is, I call it normal everyday makeup, even though I don't actually even do this every day, because most of the time I'm literally like this and I don't wear anything. But I do still do cream and then primer, even though I don't necessarily use foundation. I just find products will apply better on top if I've got primer and moisturizer and all of that than just going in basically like this, because my ladies, my gents out there, if you guys have dry skin, then you're going to understand the struggle that putting makeup products on top of like literally non-moisturized, non-primed face doesn't necessarily always work out that great. But we're just going to roll with it. Well, not roll with it, we're just going to make sure it's fully primed, fully moisturized, fully hydrated, so that everything goes on well. Now literally this is basically everything I use if I'm doing like a normal everyday quick, just want to look presentable type makeup look. It's literally everything in this bag, and then my makeup brushes. To start off with, I'm just going to use my moisturizer. So this one, although it's like a night cream, sometimes I alternate with using it in the daytime. Just depends how like my skin is feeling. If it's feeling more dry than usual, then I have a tendency to use this one rather than just like your normal like everyday morning moisturizer type thing. Today I'm filming this, it's Thursday, so 2 days after Valentine's Day. Did anyone get up to anything? Let that be with your significant other, your friends, maybe you had a little galentine's or whatever guys will call it if they spend it with their friends. I don't know, ladentine. If it's not a word, I'm making it now. Hopefully you all had fun. I went out with Alexis and our friend Dee, which you've also seen on this channel. We went to this like live event podcast thing. It's not a podcast I've ever listened to, so I did not know what I was expecting when I first went into it. But let's just say it was very interesting. A lot happened in that podcast event. It's one of them you had to be there moments kind of thing. I have some clips. I think Alexis also has some clips. Maybe we've got clips that will be allowed on YouTube. We can post them or add them here. I'm just going to go in with my primer. It's just the Makeup Revolution one, the super dewy one. I've only been using this a couple of months, but I found my makeup has sat best on top of this primer than pretty much any other primer I've used. And I just literally go in, just put some little dot around the face. Like I was saying, that event, it was very interesting. The podcast, if anyone's interested, it's called The Horrible Decisions, and it's literally what you would think as soon as you hear whore in that word. It was interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting. To be fair, I didn't really know what to expect, but interesting is probably the best word I would use to describe it. But like I said, give it a listen to, check it out, maybe the podcast. They've said they were doing it for, this is their 7th year now. They did say how many live events they've done, but I think this was their first live event in London. They are American. I don't know like whereabouts in America. Hopefully we gave them the proper London, you know, welcome. Will I go again? Let me come back to that question because I honestly don't know. I do have, it's like this skin illuminator thing. This actually came in one of my leaving presents once upon a time, and then I tried it and I really liked it, and then so I got myself a new one when the last one finished. And it's just a skin illuminator, and it's basically just gives you like a nice glow without being too much. Like now this primer, it does have its like a slight, what's the word? Radiance. Yes, this primer, it does have a slight radiance to it, so like if I like move my face like in certain points where the light hits, it does like glow a bit more, which personally I prefer considering I've got dry skin, so I like my skin to look as glowy, as bright as possible, not to the point it's starting to look like oily, which again, this is quite an oily primer, so if you've got like oily skin, avoid it. If you've got combination, depending if it's like more to the oily side, this might not be your favorite. Maybe if it's like a combination but more to the dry side, then you might actually get on with this. But because this is quite oily, I think sometimes this going on top, it brings back more of that glowy look than just that oily look, if that makes sense. Usually I do it more if my like skin is a bit more like on the clearer side. Like today I don't, like I've got like little marks and stuff around my face, but I don't have like, it's not like acne, if that makes sense. It's not like spots, it's just like, it's almost like scarring. So yeah, if I'm not trying to like put anything to cover that as a base, then I'll just go in with this and then concealer. But usually I do like to use a skin tint. I just do not own one that either works for me or is still in date. But I do really want to try Primark one because I keep seeing it on TikTok and everyone keeps raving about it and saying that it's like really good. I think they said it's a dupe to something. Apparently it is really good and it's like really good coverage for what it is, if that makes sense. So I do really want to try that because I think on days that like my skin is just breaking out a little bit more, I feel like that would be like really useful, I guess, to use like as a base rather than just going in with concealer. But in the process of this, my face is probably going to look very red, but that's just because I have slight sensitive skin, so obviously when I'm rubbing my face too much to like blend in products and all of that, it does go like red, but that's just purely from me pressing into the skin and literally rubbing it in. Oh, look at me talking like a beauty guru, like I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I say take my advice, sometimes just listen to yourself, because I'm pretty sure most people watching our makeup videos probably know a bit more about makeup than we do. We just like to talk and pretend that we know what we're talking about. Fake it till you make it, why don't you? Moving on to my next step. Oops. Let's try not to break the products in the meantime. But moving on to my next step, my concealers. So I pretty much am a walking Makeup Revolution gal, because majority of my products will probably be Makeup Revolution at this point. I have 3 concealers from them. It's the Conceal and Hydrate. It's a radiance concealer with hyaluronic and acai, and it says it's medium to full coverage. I have 3 shades that I sort of split between. So the darkest shade is C8, the lightest shade is C3, and then somewhere in the middle it's C4. Now usually if I'm doing like foundation and then I'm obviously using concealer to conceal, I go in with C4 and C3 under the eye. If I'm doing, so my look like I'm doing today, which is more just like a concealer based look where I'm just putting it in certain areas of my face, then sometimes I go in more with the darker one, which is just, it's a bit darker than my skin tone, but that's just to give it a bit more of like a coverage, and then I'll just use the C4 just to lighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to take the C8 and I'm just going to apply it just here and here, and then I'm just going to take C4 and just apply it in the center as such. So as you can see, it's quite different, slight in shade. So this has got more of like a pinky peach undertone, this one's more like a nude undertone, and I feel like together that's why it creates like a fusion of colour that works better for my skin tone. So otherwise it just looks too like colour and then skin kind of thing, and we try to avoid that. And then I'll just go back in with C4 just in the other points of my face, and then I'll take this brush and I just sort of start kind of just buffing it basically. And then what I kind of do, obviously because then you still get remaining on your brush from blending, I just take it up and out. Now there may be a lot of like parts in this video where I kind of just do like try out different ways, and if it works then great, if it doesn't then you know we just take it off and try again. But the purpose of this makeup look is literally to look as minimal as possible, almost like that TikTok one that was going on, the clean girl aesthetic or the glass skin, something like that. I think it was more the clean girl that this more symbol, well not symbols, looks more the most closest to. And then I just pat it into the corner of my nose. See, it's not like heavily covered, like it doesn't look like crazy, but it still looks quite natural. But you don't have as many designer bags sitting under your eye. And then sometimes I just, depending like if that side, so as you can see, this side of my face is much more like clear than like this side is. This side where I've got a bit more like blemishes down here. So what I usually do, I just like drag it down almost like with the edge, with whatever's remaining on the brush, just to maybe like cover anything that's there. And then sometimes what I do, I take the C4 and just here in the center, just to help with more like the brightening, and just add that extra little bit of coverage. And there you have it. That is pretty much base wise what I do. Now my eyebrows are looking not the greatest because I have not gotten them done in a hot minute, so usually this is much easier to do or get a much better look when they are done, like as in when they've already been threaded properly, because as you can see at the moment it's kind of like way out of shape. This is actually a new brow pencil that I had to get because I couldn't find my old one in Superdrugs and I ended up finding it in Boots anyway, so now I've got two brand new eyebrow pencils. But this one, it's by Maybelline, it's the Express Brow, and this is just, I think it's in their darker shade, number 7 black brow, but it's this like really like precise and really like small, so like that. I just find that this one, it gives more like, see what I mean, it gives like more like thinner lines, so it's just a bit easier to actually work with. And that is pretty much how I do my eyebrows. So what I do is I kind of clean it up first with concealer, and then I'll like brush it through. I've got also like a brow gel, like a clear one, that I just use just to go over, just to sort of keep them in place and just also help shape them up a little bit. And this I quite like to blend straight away because I don't want it to start to crease and then go to matte almost. Then what I'll do, I'll just take the spoolie bit of the brush and just give that a quick brush through, make sure all the hairs are down. And then it's probably criminal to do this, maybe you're supposed to do this the other way, but I just take this clear brow gel, it's the Revlon Brow Fiber Filter, and quite frankly reaching its ends, so not much gets picked up, but I still just scrape off the ends because I don't like too much on it anyway, so it's kind of good. And then I kind of just go over just to brush them down. Pretty much one of the last things is cream bronzer. Now I use this one, which is the, again, Makeup Revolution, well this is Revolution Pro, but you get the point. It's the Hydra Bright Cream Blush in the shade Peach. This is apparently, I believe, a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury, I think it's Peachgasm Beauty Light Wand. I've been using this not too long, but this is actually already finishing. You just literally squeeze like that and it will like bubble at the top. I do like a really like funky smile, but it's just so that the apples of my cheek and all that show more, so that I know exactly where to apply it. And I just dab like that. Now I am not at all shy with this product because it may look intense like this, but I promise you, as soon as you start to buff it in, it quite frankly, how rude, the camera shut off. Don't actually know what the last thing it was that you heard, but like I was saying, I pack in the blush and then I just bring it upwards. Like that, and then don't be afraid to add more if you want to, but again, this is each to their own. I do add a bit just on the bridge of my nose like that, and then I just add a bit more here like that, and then I'll just take my concealer brush and just tap along the top of here and just below and down the side, or down the middle almost, just to blend in almost like the lining of obviously where the brush would have blended the blush into, just so that it looks as seamless as possible. And then sometimes what I'll do, I'll go back in with that same concealer and just add it just here, just to help clean up that little bit of where the blush went. So I just tap 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 and then bring it up here, and it kind of almost adds that brightening bit back, but without taking away the blush that was previously there. And now what I quite like as well about this blush, it has slight like quite brightening obviously at the same time as adding that blush, so it almost just gives that, adds a bit more of like radiance again back into the skin. Now sometimes I might use bronzer just to add a bit more of like that definition, just really depends what I'm feeling that day, but today I'm quite enjoying more like the blush look than as opposed to the bronzed and sculpted look. And I also find sometimes putting bronzer on top of like non-base products, it doesn't always sit right and it almost makes it go like mucky and like looks a bit muddy. I kind of prefer to stay away from bronzer just for that reason. And like I said, just keep adding blush until you're happy with the outcome. I sometimes go with just a little bit more highlight just to accentuate the points that are of my face that I want to be a bit more brighter. So I just, again, shocker, use this Revolution highlight. It's there, I think it's like a baked highlight if I'm not mistaken. Well, they call it highlighted reloaded. No, sorry, highlighter reloaded, and this is in the shade Raise the Bar. So I just take a bit on this Morphe brush and just apply it just here on the sides, down the nose and the middle. I like a bit on the Cupid's bow, on the chin. I don't like going too crazy with highlight when I'm doing quite a natural look, so I just go back in with the excess on the blush brush just to almost blend that highlight in so it looks more like a sheen rather than just highlight sitting on top, if that makes sense. And then pretty much second to last, I use my trusty old mascara. This is the Maybelline Sky High Lash Sensational, and this is in their shade Cosmic Black, so I think it's just a little bit darker than the pink one. And I just add that to my lashes. I quite like this look as well if you've got like eyelash extensions on. I feel like that really adds to the look, but obviously we do not have that. And now what I'll do, that is obviously it at its first coat. I personally prefer to go in with 2 coats, so gonna go back in, and then I just use the same amount that was left on just to swipe a little bit at my under lashes. Sometimes I go with a setting spray, sometimes I don't, depends what my skin is looking like, if it feels like it needs a bit more of like hydration to it. This is the Revolution Hyaluronic Fix, and it's a hydrating and plumping makeup fixing spray. So just gonna add a bit of that before I do lip. Now with lips, like, because this is a very natural look and a very like chill, everyday, easy to do look, I like to keep it very light with the lips, so I always try to go in with more of like a clearer lip product. This is the Fenty Gloss Bomb Heat in the shade Lemon Lava. Obviously it looks yellow on here, but it basically just comes up, it's almost like that sparkle plumping lip. Sometimes I like to add a lip liner to it, like a lip liner closer to my lip shade, just to give that more like pouty look. But because this is a plumping gloss, it kind of already does that on its own, so I don't really need to add a lip liner to it today. Then I just take my concealer brush just to clean up around the edges in case a bit of the lip gloss went anywhere. And quite frankly, this is basically my everyday chill makeup look. So if I'm not trying to do anything too much, if I'm just going, let's say going shopping, but you still want to look a bit more like you've put in effort, this is pretty much it. And all it really took was some concealer, blush, bit of highlight, eyebrows, mascara. Pretty much 5 steps, one could say. Let me go sort out my hair and then I'll come back to you guys. So I've now fixed my hair, made it look a bit more presentable to match the more presentable look of my face. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching my little mini chill everyday makeup routine, and that you weren't so upset to only find my face in this video. I promise you, you're going to get the same video from Alexis. But that is pretty much all from me for today. Make sure to like, comment, share the video, turn that notification bell so that you do know when we do next upload. And again, don't forget to follow our social medias, which will be here somewhere on the screen, or it will also be linked down below in the description box. I will see you again soon. Until then, we will see you guys next week. Bye.